This is me. This year, on January 1st, I decided to give up coffee because it gives me headaches and stomach aches as much as I love it. For 10 days, the plan went great. On January 11th, something went wrong. I was really exhausted after waking up early for a Zoom lecture, and I was really hungry after skipping breakfast. My husband walked into the room with a fresh, hot cappuccino, and the second I smelled it, it's like I forgot all my powers of self-control. I kind of didn't even know what I was doing before I had already drank a big sip of that cappuccino. By the time I thought, wait a minute, I gave up coffee, and for kind of a good reason. That hot anxiety juice was already in my belly. So let's examine what was going on in my brain at this unusual moment when I surprised myself by acting out of accord with my own goals. To tell this story properly, I need to introduce two characters: the prefrontal cortex and the reward network. My prefrontal cortex is responsible for logical decision-making, rule-following, self-monitoring, and self-control. Its purpose is to help humans execute the complex behaviors we need to achieve to get to our long-term goals. The reward network is responsible for producing feelings of desire, craving, and motivation whenever a reward or potential reward is present. Its purpose is to motivate humans to acquire all the things that help a human survive. Rewarding things can be simple, like food or sex, or more complex, like knowledge, discovery, or social status. In this dramatic reenactment, the role of my prefrontal cortex will be played by Kermit the Frog. Kermit makes a great choice because he's dutiful, responsible, and always aware of what's right and wrong. This fits with the prefrontal cortex's role in the brain of reminding you of the rules to follow and holding you to your commitments. Kermit is the leader of the Muppet Gang, which also corresponds to the prefrontal cortex's role in managing executive functions and working as the sort of boss of consciousness. Miss Piggy, on the other hand, works well as a representation of the reward network because she's passionate, a little bit selfish, impulsive, and very powerful. This fits with the reward network's powerful ability to motivate a person to pursue their desires no matter what is in the way. I knew Piggy was a perfect character to represent my reward network when I went online and searched for different images of her looking especially thirsty. There were so many, it was hard to choose one. It's just in her character. So what was going on all of the days I successfully kept my commitment to avoid coffee? Every time I thought about coffee, it went a little something like this. Oh, Kermie, don't you think it would be nice just to have a little sip of coffee right now? I don't know, Piggy. I mean, we gave up coffee for a good reason. It was giving you stomach aches. It was giving us a headache. Let's stick to what we decided. Okay. Oh, sugar! Luckily for Kermit, my reward network was easily distracted from the temptation of coffee when there was no coffee around. On all the days I managed to keep my resolution, even when my reward network reminded me of my love of caffeine and my addiction, my prefrontal cortex was responsible for keeping me faithful to my decision to avoid coffee and getting past the temptation whenever it came up. So what went wrong on January 11th? First of all, my prefrontal cortex wasn't in top form at that moment. The prefrontal cortex has a very high metabolism, and the cells in that brain region get worn out easily when they're overtaxed. On the morning of January 11th, I hadn't gotten much sleep the night before. I'll be honest with you, I skipped breakfast. And what's more, I gave a lecture over Zoom that was really cognitively taxing. So after concentrating really hard on multiple things at once and managing this complex performance, my prefrontal cortex wasn't in its usual fine shape. Instead of looking like this, it looked more like this. My prefrontal cortex was weakened from all of its recent exertion. and wasn't up to performing as well as usual. Another difference is that I wasn't simply thinking about coffee. A hot, fresh, delicious cup of coffee was right in front of me. An important fact, in fact, while the rest of your senses need to be processed before they reach the emotional limbic areas of your brain, your sense of smell connects directly with the limbic system. So it has more power than other senses to cue memory and emotion, which is what happened on January 11th. Oh, Kermie! Oh, Piggy, I smell coffee! Let's have coffee! Oh, I don't know, Piggy. Too late! Ah! Coffee! 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 I think I need to go lie down. So there you have it. Between my highly triggered reward network and my weakened prefrontal cortex, my resolution didn't stand a chance.